Robin Murray, or Mindful Physio Mom, here with another movement practice for you. Today we are working on the rotators and the lateral and medial chain that help control our pelvis and our hips. This is a beginner to intermediate program. Give yourself permission to start some of the movements, take breaks, and progress based on your tolerance and how your body is feeling. Of course, if you have any pain, discomfort, or if you're unsure if you should be doing this exercise program, check with your doctor or physiotherapist before starting. For this program, you'll need a ball and optional, a little bit of a resistance band to use. You can also use an ankle weight if you have one kicking around. Before we get started, thank you so much for being here. Feel free to subscribe and like this video and share it with your friends. If you'd like to support me and my work, there is an option to leave me a tip in the description. Let's get going, and I hope you love this one as much as I do.
You're going to have a ball and a band for this practice. Find your way to lie down for the warm-up. Connect to your breath, bringing one knee up to give it a hug, wrapping your hands around the shin or behind your knee, whatever feels more comfortable. Feel free to keep the knee bent or straighten the leg as shown here. Connecting to your breath now. Moving the ankle around, thinking about breathing smoothly into the pelvic floor. Again, you can bend that knee if it feels better to do so. Bringing both knees up, giving them a gentle hug, breathing in as you bring those knees to the chest, and exhale as you let them go. Trying to keep your sacrum anchored to the ground, thinking long through the spine and relaxed through the jaw. Switch to the other leg now, connecting deeply to your breath, rotating the ankle, just warming up those hips for movement. Place both feet down. Move your hips over to one side, but keep your thorax where it was. And you're going to close your hands like a book. Inhale, open your hand to the side. Trying to keep the knees together and on the floor. It's okay if they lift up a little bit. Just looking to open the spiral lines, the spiral fascial lines here, and the thoracic spine. Inhaling as you open, exhale as you close. Thinking of smoothness of breath here, filling up the bottom of the rib cage and the pelvis as you open and close. A couple more reps. Wonderful. Bringing your hips back to center and then over to the other side. We're going to do the thoracic mobility exercise on the other side. And give yourself grace if you can't quite get that hand to the ground. Go as far as comfortable, listening to your body. Knowing that all movement is good. There is no right or wrong. Connecting to that breath deeply as you move here. Couple more reps. Wonderful. Now find your equipment. We're going to start with the band. And you can use any band, but you can also do this exercise without the band, which is a little bit easier. Setting up, grab your ball as well. The ball is optional. You can also use a yoga block. You're going to stay on your elbow, or if you need to, you can lie all the way down. The elbow is directly under the shoulder, and you're going to bring your knees forward at a 45-degree angle to your hips, and you're going to rotate your pelvis forward so your belly button is pointed towards the ground. You're going to inhale on release, exhale, press the ball, connect to your deep core, and then bring the knees apart. Really pulling that band with the rotators of the hip, the external rotators of the hip, which are located at the back of the hip. The pelvis should stay neutral here. We don't want rocking of the pelvis if we're activating our core to stabilize. So we don't want to move backwards. Stay with me here for a couple of more reps. Take a break if you need it. We're going for 12. Exhale, activate, knees come apart, and then back together. Wonderful. Pushing gently into that ball. That's optional. It just helps us connect to our deep core. Pulling that elbow in towards the side to help stabilize the side body. I always know when I'm starting to feel it because I will smile. Now we're going to hold here for about 10 seconds and letting go. Taking the band off, now we're going to take the ball. We're going to lie all the way down. Place your head on your hand, and you're going to bring the knee in front at about almost a 90. You can put an ankle weight on your ankle if you want to make this harder. You're pushing into the ball and you're rotating into internal rotation as far as you can go. If you're new to strengthening your internal and external rotators, sometimes this can cause cramping. If that happens, just push into the ball and don't lift as high. Again, take breaks as you need to. I'm doing 12 here. I'm pushing on exhale and connecting to my deep core as that leg moves. We want that leg to move freely with not a lot of pelvic movement. And if you're not feeling much here, that's great. It's a good indication to add an ankle weight. And you have nice, healthy internal rotators. So we're going to grab the band for our next exercise and place it close to the knees. Place your feet around your hips, just reorganizing my outfit here. And there we go. This is a posterior pelvic floor exercise. So on your exhale, you're going to think about drawing a marble up your rectum. Yes, your rectum. So inhale, exhale, connect to drawing that marble up that posterior pelvic floor, and then you're going to pull the band apart at the top. To make this harder, you can squeeze the ball or even bring the ball overhead. You can replace that with the weight, but give yourself permission to keep the arms on the floor as you're connecting to that posterior triangle. The idea is to keep connected to the posterior pelvic floor as you bring those knees apart without losing that connection. It takes work, but this is a really good exercise for the posterior quadrant, the external rotators. I give this to my runners a lot. A couple more here. So breath in, posterior pelvic floor activation, lift those hips, bring the knees out. I'm bringing the ball overhead, which is optional. And you can see even my hips dipping there a little bit. We really want to keep them lifted as much as we can as we bring the band apart. Awesome work. Put that ball to the side. And then we're going to move over. Actually, no, keep your ball with you. We're going to do the clamshell on the other side. So again, the hips are at a 45-degree angle. We're going to angle that belly button towards the floor, the elbows under the shoulder, the ball is for support, and you're going to press that ball as you connect to the deep core, and you're going to pull that band apart. Really thinking about the lats here as well. So you're pulling that elbow gently in towards your side, shoulder is nice and supported in that lateral chain. Inhaling as we release, everything opens. Exhaling, connecting. That inhale, exhale can help balance out the tone in the system. We often will up train so much where we're really training that muscle up, but where is the balance? Where is the down? A couple more here before we hold and take a break as you need to. Beautiful work. And holding here for a few seconds. You've got this. Awesome. Removing the band, and we're going to move to the hip internal rotator strengthening. The internal rotators are on the inside wall of the pelvis, and they're often neglected because it's a hard area to connect with. They're not the pelvic floor themselves, but they're kind of the sister of the pelvic floor. They're really important to support that lateral wall. And if we've had babies, that really can become inhibited and stretched out in that third trimester and with vaginal birth, even with cesarean birth too. Giving yourself permission to go as far into this internal rotation that is comfortable for you. If there's any cramping, take a break. Giving yourself permission just to push that knee into the ball without the rotation. And we're moving on each exhale. A couple more here. Try to keep it smooth. Beautiful. Moving back to the posterior pelvic floor bridge. You want to put the band close to your knees. If it's further up on the thigh, sometimes it'll roll up on you. So you'll know right away because you'll do one and it'll roll up like demonstrated here, and I will move it back down. Great. So inhale, lower. Exhale, connect, rectal lift, pulling the band apart, coming back together and down. A gentle connection to the posterior pelvic floor. It's not that you want to really, really lift that posterior pelvic floor unless it's weak postpartum, of course. Often give this one for hemorrhoids as well, especially hemorrhoids that are associated with load. Like if you go to the park with your kids and you're kind of hemorrhoidy that afternoon and you did a lot of like lifting, carried them back to the park. This is a really great postpartum exercise. And if you think about your two sit bones to your tailbone, we're working on that area here. Couple more breaths. You're doing so well. Fantastic. I'm going to switch gears here. Take your ball, place it underneath your lower back and your sacrum. I'm going to work on some hip flexor strengthening. Very important. You will get the internal and external rotators a little bit here, but my intention with this video is to help support the runners. It's spring in Ontario, or it's supposed to be spring. But if we can do a little bit of strengthening before return to run, that can be amazing. So with each tap and each extension, we want to press gently into the ball, connecting to our deep core, not letting the back arch. I really like using balls, making sure our neck is relaxed. If you're really feeling this in the head, face, neck, give yourself permission to just do the toe taps or keep the arms down. Arms up is harder. Monitoring your core if needed, making sure we're not having any bulging outwards. If you're unsure how to connect to your deep core, you can check out my other videos. As of this upload, I haven't uploaded my deep core setting exercises yet, but always feel free to go to my Instagram or shoot me an email or drop a comment if you are unsure. But that's what pelvic health physios do. We help you manage pressures so the core can work as effectively as she can. Or he can. A couple more here. Moving on each exhale. Inhaling back to center and then exhaling, straightening, really firing up that quadricep. Beautiful work. Pressing gently into the floor with the arms to help support the core, making sure the back is staying connected. Awesome work. Now we're going to bring it up a notch. Give yourself permission if you're not ready for this exercise to just work with the earlier exercises. But for those of you that want a little bit of extra spice, we're going to put the ball in between the legs. We're going to make sure that the knees are in line with the hips. Make sure those knees are not forward or you'll get more into the hip flexors. You can use a yoga block to help you here if you're still regenerating your core or you're returning to exercise. Place the top hand on the block if you need to. Okay, the elbows directly under the shoulder. Breath in, connect to the deep core, squeeze the ball, lift, and then lower. Inhale, lift on exhale, lower. Inhale, exhale, lift, and lower. As I'm lifting, I'm going to be thinking about pulling that elbow in towards my side. My shoulders stay in line with one another. And as I said, if this is just a little bit too hard for you, that is so okay. Or you can just do 1 or 2. There aren't any rules. But I would encourage you to make sure that those knees are in line with the hips, the elbow is under the shoulder, and use that block in front if needed. But also giving yourself permission that the earlier exercises are 100% okay. Let's do the other side. Setting up the same, elbow under shoulder, knees are directly in line with the hips, not in front. Using the block if needed. Inhale, exhale, activate and lift. And then we're going to rep out here. You don't have to keep up with me, and you can see I'm just adjusting there because my elbow wasn't quite where I wanted it to be. This side is my weaker side, so it takes a little bit more concentration for me. And it is very normal to have one side that is not as strong as the other side. Just want to give those weaker sides some extra love. A couple of more reps here, staying with me, but also giving yourself permission to take a break if needed. Awesome work. So we're going to run through the exercises one more time, and then you are done. You have about 10 minutes left in this exercise series. Try to stay with me. So setting up, knees out of 45, elbow under the shoulder, but you can lie down for this one. The band is optional. Belly button's pointed towards the floor. We're moving on exhale, making sure we're not rocking back on those hips. Beautiful work. If I'm smiling, it's because I am starting to feel those muscles working. Stay connected, a little bit of an eye roll there. And holding. You got this. Couple more seconds. Wonderful. All righty. We are going to move to the internal rotator exercise. Hand on head, and ankle weight is an option here. So ideally the knee should not be moving too much. Even as I'm watching this, I'm not in love with how much knee flexion I'm doing here. I'm probably fatiguing. I went to the gym before recording this. There, you can see me cleaning it up a little bit there. We want to think about rotating through the hip. We're not there. That was a good one. We don't want to bend the knee. I'm glad I had a couple of crummy ones there and then caught myself. We're looking to rotate the hip. Moving into our posterior pelvic floor bridge once again. The ball is optional, of course. The hands can be on the floor. A reminder, you're connecting to that posterior pelvic floor on exhale, drawing a marble gently up the rectum as you raise those hips. If you can, just feather touch those hips back to the ground. Don't offload the pelvis. But if it feels right for you today to offload the pelvis, of course do so and completely rest. But can you stay engaged throughout the 12 reps here? Breath in, connect to the deep core and that posterior triangle. Stay connected as you come up and bring those knees apart. Beautiful job. If I remember correctly, at this point of the workout, my brain started to say, oh, okay, like I could stop it now. It's probably enough. And then said, no, let's finish it off. Notice if you're starting to get distracted at this point. Easy to do. You're only here with me for about maybe 10 minutes, maybe less. Give yourself permission to stay, but also give yourself permission to return to this video if it feels like too much. Going to the other side for the external rotators. The external rotator is very important for keeping the legs stable during stance phase for running. It's what runs on the outside of our hips. Some people will feel a clamshell in the front of their hips. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're not activating the back of the hips. There's lots of reasons for that. But as I said, keep that belly button pointed towards the ground. Pressing the ball, connecting to the deep core, and those knees come apart. Thinking about rotating, you're closing your glutes like a book as you open. Or think about squeezing that bum crack together. And holding here. You've got this. Not sure why I put a hold at the end. Just felt like a good thing to do. I was probably regretting my decision in that moment. All right, let's move to internal rotation. Again, being mindful if you're moving the knee rather than the hip. This is my stronger hip. You can see that difference in mobility there. My right is a little bit more of my struggle bus hip in terms of mobility. She just has always been that way. I love her as she is. So if you have these differences in your body, give yourself grace. Connecting to deep core and rotating smoothly. Side to side differences are normal. But we might want to spend more time on one side in terms of warm up if we're going for a run, if we just know one side tends to be a little stiffer than the other. All right, last round of posterior pelvic floor bridges. I'm going to leave the ball to the side. Of course, you can hold it if that's working for you or use the weight. Ask yourself if you're staying connected to that posterior pelvic floor as you bring those knees apart. And if not, you might want to drop that weight down, because that's the purpose of this exercise, is as you exhale and come up, that posterior pelvic floor is drawing up towards your head. Inhale, exhale, pull. Inhale, exhale, and up. You've got this. Couple more here. You're doing so well. Stay connected to your breath. Beautiful work. And for whatever reason, I decided we're going to hold it at the end here. So stay connected and hold. Not for too long. Wonderful. Taking that band away. Well, there she goes. Okay. Grab your ball, place it under your back. And we're going to move into the hip flexor strengthening, deep core strengthening in the front wall, hands by the side. Give yourself permission on exhale to tap those feet down. That's the easier version. Or extend the legs. Activate those quadriceps, which are the muscles in the front of the thigh, pressing into the ball, pressing into the floor, making sure that the neck isn't over-activating here. Neck, jaw is nice and relaxed. You can think about squeezing oranges under your armpits to activate those lats, to take the attention away from the neck. If you're like, you know what, I want to straighten that leg, but how do I get this neck to chill out? You can also go back and forth between taps and straightens. This is about listening to our body. What is she doing? What is he doing as you're moving here? Taking this time to slow down a bit if you can. Stay connected to your breath. Notice if that nervous system's getting wound up with all of this up training. We only have one more exercise to do after this before we do our cool down. You're so close. Beautiful work. Ball in between the legs, rolling to the side. Knees are in line with the hips, elbow directly underneath the shoulder. Activate that deep core, squeeze that ball and come up. And of course, if you remember from earlier, you can use that yoga block under your hand if just relying on that one arm is a little spicy for you today. If I was picky with this exercise, I might say to myself, hey, Robin, relax your hand. You see how my bottom hand is really gripped? If I was training me, I'd say, Robin, just relax that hand a little bit, just to find a little bit of softening in this movement. So if you're gripping your hand, Try to relax it and see if you can stay connected to your lat through that elbow without gripping. Other side. Knees in line with the hips, elbow directly under the shoulder. See how my hand is relaxed there? Let's see if she goes grippy. She's doing well so far. Squeeze deep core and lift. Yeah, really stay connected to that lat. Well, you can see my hand is getting a little grippy here. But finding that balance between effort and ease with this side plank. Knowing that after this, we are all done. Couple more reps. You're doing so well. Beautiful. Yay. Okay, let's lie on down. Job well done. Knee to chest like we started. Noticing if you're having the urge to shut this video off. Try to stay with me for this cool down. Connecting to your breath here. We're going to cross the ankle over the thigh. You can stay here and breathe deeply, or if you want a little bit more of an intense stretch, grab the whole hip and you can straighten the other leg or keep it bent, whatever feels better for you for the sleeping swan. Noticing if you're gripping through the head, face, neck, jaw, and maybe bending the knee of the straight leg if that is happening. Upper body is relaxed. We're connected to that hip as we breathe in deeply. You can just jostle it back and forth a little bit if that feels good to do. Awesome work. Okay, we're going to rotate to the side. We're going to do our thoracic openers again. You'll see that I shifted my hips over to the side before I dropped the knees. This was the advice of one of my mentors, Amber Morphy. With anything twist, to just shift your hips over a little bit, and it really does help out quite a bit in terms of tension along the spine. So give it a go. It might be new for you because it was new for me. We're going to settle here in this twist and breathe deeply. Thinking about expanding your rib cage 360, expanding your hips, expanding your pelvic floor, relaxing the jaw. Beautiful. Moving to the other side, hips back to center. Give that knee a squeeze. You can put your hand behind the knee if on the shin is too much. Straightening the leg is optional, of course, for a couple of breaths. Comparing how this might feel versus the beginning of the session. Bending the knee, ankle on the knee for a figure 4, or if it feels accessible to you today, giving that whole hip complex a squeeze and straightening the leg. You can, of course, keep the knee bent and settling in, connecting to breath. Head, face, neck is relaxed. Thorax is relaxed. Pelvis is relaxed. Breathe deeply and settle in for a few more breaths. Beautiful work. Shifting the hips over, dropping the knees down, and we're going to open and close for 6. Keep bashing my poor little plant there. And then once we hit that 6th rep, we're going to hang out. And settle in. You can place something under the knees for support if needed. Breathe deeply here. Relaxing the legs down with each exhale and the arm down with each exhale. Noticing how this is different than when we started this practice. Noticing any thoughts coming in. Trying to stay present. Straightening the legs now. For a final relaxation, hands down for grounding, hands up for receiving. Connecting to the sides of the rib cage, breathing in, breathing down into the pelvis, and just checking out how that pelvis is feeling. If this is challenging for you to sink into body, of course, subscribe to my channel, and I'll be doing some longer embodiment videos in the future. And stay present with yourself. Expanding the pelvis on inhale, relaxing the body into the floor on exhale for a few more breaths. Staying with me here, sending gratitude to your body for taking this time today. Wiggling fingers and toes and coming up. Wonderful.
That was so much fun. I'm not gonna lie, halfway through I was like, oh my goodness, I want to stop, which is so normal when we're showing up for movement practices. And if you made it through the whole program, you go. I am so proud of you because it is hard to take that time. As I said at the beginning of this video, I am so happy you are here. Feel free to like and subscribe to my channel. I will be putting out content every other week for an undisclosed amount of time, which will include pelvic health content as well as anything else that I want to share on my channel. Also, if you found this helpful and you'd like to leave me a tip, you can find how to do that in the description of this video. Have an awesome day or night wherever you are in the world, and thanks for being here. Bye.